Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Monday morning, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. Got to work for you. Tap in. Happy Monday morning. I want to drop a quick word, and that is, could you potentially be seeing your promise incorrectly? Are you not seeing the promise correctly because you're holding on and trying to control the outcome? So God is giving you this vision, this download. And in doing so, you've created this narrative and you're stuck holding on to that narrative out of flesh, out of control because of trauma, out of a lack of faith, maybe not trusting God fully, even though you say that you do. So you're trying to control the outcome of that vision, of that destiny. And until you take your hands up off of it enough where you're okay with trusting God fully with the outcome, your blessings may, all caps, may remain on hold because you're not going to know what to do with it. You're going to abort and abandon the blessing, the vision, because you don't have the correct outcome and you're not seeing it properly. Your mind is locked on seeing it this way. And God is saying, you may have some of the details, but you got to release it and just trust that if I said it's yours, it's yours. If I said it's going to happen for you, it's going to happen for you. If I said I'm going to take you there, I'm going to take you there. But you're not going to sit here and control the outcome because of your own fear, because of your own lack of faith, etc., etc. What I've encountered being a visionary and knowing that whatever God has shown me, it is, at least 98% of the times I've been on it. I was correct. However, it wasn't the details of it what I thought it would be. So it is, but until I fully release that, what I think the outcome should be in its entirety, then I delay breakthrough in certain areas. And this takes obedience. This takes, discipline. This takes massive discipline. To arrive to that point, you're going to go through some hurdles. You're going to wear yourself out. And that's fine. That's natural. God is allowing you to wear yourself out so he can get you to the place to say, you know what? It is what it is at this point. And most times we don't arrive there until we've burnt ourselves out. And once you get to that point, then you can just release it. When you release it, then God comes in. When you're trying to hold on to things and create the narrative and you're locked on this narrative, then it's almost like I can't really describe what I'm feeling, but it's the same thing like when you're trying to hold on to toxic relationships and you're trying to make it work and make it work. There's a resistance against it. There's a resistance against it. And it just won't work. But when one person finally just releases it and say, you know what, it is what it is, then things start to unfold. Either it will work out or you're both moving on to a new chapter in life. So the more you try to control something, you're really repelling it from you. So if God has, let's think of a couple of examples, since you guys love examples. Let's say God have given you a vision about ministry. And of course, ministry can be 1,000 different things, right? But your mind is locked on the fact that he said it's going to be something in regards to helping others, helping the homeless, things like that, which is still ministry. But you have this whole blueprint. You got your whole memo pad about how I'm seeing like just a vision of like people who are like extremely anal and organized. You got your whole memo pad of how it's going to work, the date's going to work, the people you're going to hire, the food you're going to prepare, this. I mean, you got it all laid out. You got it all laid out. And so God may have very much tell you, yeah, this is the direction I'm taking you. But when you get there, it might be something completely different. He may not even want you to feed anybody. You may be there to just witness. You may just be there to be a server for the others who are serving. So there's so many different areas that God can use you. But if you're not careful, and if you're locked onto what you think the outcome should be, when you get there, if God allows you to get there, you're going to be very, very disappointed. We can't tell God what to do, right? We have to get in alignment so we can flow with what God is doing. Probably one of the most hard lessons I've learned, but I've learned. Sorry, guys, if it's not one phone, it's the other, and I'm not even over there, so please just hang up, person. Oh, God. Lord, please give me the patience. Or, excuse me, guys, or God has promised you a kingdom partner, kingdom spouse, whatever it is, you guys deem the term to be. And you're locked in on your mind about this fairy tale of marriage and a wedding, right? Which is okay. Marriage is beautiful, can be beautiful. But you literally have this whole vision about getting married because you just want to do it for your friends and do it for your family and do it for yourself ultimately. But you just want to kind of shine, right? You want to have this big extravagant wedding. You're picturing and thinking like it's going to be Disney World and fairy tale and dandelions and roses 24 hours a day, 365 a year. Like you're locked in on that image. And that's all you see. So your focus on the kingdom spouse or purpose partner is specifically to just have the title of being married and thinking that everything is just going to be all roses, not understanding that the person that God brings into your life, you may be called to be a prayer warrior, right? This is still your people. Don't get it twisted, but there's still work to do. You might have to cover them in a certain way, right? Whatever your gifts are, you may have to cover this person a certain way. And so, of course, as we know, Satan attacks anything that comes together for a purpose and calling, etc. So now when these rough times get here, you're going to want to walk because you don't see this perfect marriage, which there is none, this perfect marriage of what you have concocted this story in your head. You've locked there. So when things start going left, right, and he starts tripping or she starts tripping, so now rather than you really go to war in the spirit to cover this person and do work in the warfare against whatever's going on, you bunks. Because you're seeing the promise incorrectly. You're seeing it for what you want to see it for, versus understanding that anything that God brings into our lives is for the glory of God. So we have to trust that whatever God has shown us, we don't have all the details. In fact, the longer you go in process, the longer that you're in a season of delay, you see things more clearly. God will show you examples. He will give you downloads. He will show you things before he opens the door, because now you have a better look like, oh man, I thought it was X, Y, and Z, but that was all the way left. Like, yeah, it is, but that's not the details that I thought. Well, who are you to think? Who are you to think about what I've showed you the vision because I want you to know where you're going. But you don't know half of that stuff. You won't even know until you get there. I'm not going to even drop certain downloads till you get there. But the longer you're in this season of delay, I'm showing you more and more. And that's why you're having more of a revelation about the promise. That's why you're not as giddy as you once were, because now you're seeing it for what it really is versus this fairy tale that you had. No, boo, there's work. There's work. I think it was Pastor T.D. Jakes I heard say a couple of weeks ago. He said something in reference to when you're in these storms, or you're in a season of warfare, or you're in a season of delay, and you're in the wilderness, right? You're just so happy when it's coming to a head and you know it's about to end. And he was like, listen, I'm sorry to break it to you, but once you complete that season of wilderness, you're going back into it one way or another, and it's so true. It's so true. You think because you've been in the wilderness and you learned this and you saw this, wonderful, and you think that once this wilderness is over and when you get to due season, there's just Disney World there. Like as if you're not, no, you're going back in the wilderness again at some point. Especially if you're not fluid enough to allow God to move and maneuver the way he should. Especially if your flesh is so weak that every time something come up against you or something's not looking, you want to walk. You runners, I was a runner. You runners, oh, you will be thrown back in the wilderness season because now God got to really allow you to see yourself the way you are. Start stripping you from some of that fear that has accumulated from traumas, things like that, etc., 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 etc. But if you're feeling this resistance and you feel like you should already be seeing some open doors, ask yourself, but most importantly, ask God, are you trying to see the promise from your own fleshly limited eyes? If so, ask God to give you grace to release the outcome to him, and he will. It won't be easy, but he will. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.